Hey there. I'm really glad you're here. I used to walk into my kitchen after cleaning and feel this quiet frustration creep in. The counters weren't dirty, but they weren't clear either. There were things everywhere, not enough to call it a mess, but enough to make the whole space feel heavy. It wasn't one big problem. It was lots of small things that never seemed to leave. Stuff sitting out for now. Cabinets packed so tight I had to move 3 things just to grab one. And after a while, it all blended together and felt overwhelming. I didn't know where to start, so I just kept circling the same spots over and over. That's why today's video is very simple on purpose. I'm not asking you to declutter your whole house. I'm sharing 10 small things you can let go of today. Things that quietly take up space and make your home feel harder to manage than it needs to be. This is the exact list I use in my own home when everything starts to feel too full. Every time I go through it, my counters clear faster, my cabinets are easier to use, and the house feels lighter almost immediately. So if the idea of decluttering everything feels like too much, start here. One small decision at a time. Let's get into it. The first one is hiding in plain sight right behind your cupboard door. Let's start with the first thing, and it's hiding in almost everyone's kitchen, a mug or cup you never actually use. You know the one. Maybe the handle gets too hot. Maybe the rim is chipped. Maybe it came in a gift set, and you kept it just because it looked nice. But every morning when you reach into the cupboard, you skip it. Again and again. I had one just like that, a floral mug that looked cute, but something about the shape always annoyed me. I'd reach around it for the ones I actually liked, and yet I kept putting it back on the shelf for months. And the truth is, it's such a tiny thing, but it messes with your flow. Every time you open that cupboard, you're making tiny decisions, and tiny decisions pile up. That's where the overwhelm comes from. So let this be your permission to toss or donate that cup. Not next week, today. Clear one little spot, and you've already started. And once you see how easy it feels to let go of just one annoying item, wait till you see tomorrow's list. It's full of those small but mighty things we all ignore, but when they're gone, it's like your whole house exhales. Don't miss it. Seriously. Now let's move on to the second thing, and it's one we pass through every single day without even noticing the mess it leaves behind. Next up is something most of us walk right past, or rather drive with every single day: the mess in your car's center console. You know how it goes. You're running late, tossing your coffee cup into the cup holder, stuffing receipts in the side pocket, leaving a pack of wipes just in case. A week goes by, then a month, and suddenly your car feels like a mobile junk drawer. I didn't even realize how much it affected me until I opened my center console one day to look for lip balm and found an old mask, some melted crayons, a broken hair clip, 3 napkins stuck together, and expired hand sanitizer. Not exactly calming, so I made it a habit 5 minutes once a week while I'm waiting in the school pickup line. I grab a small bag, toss anything that's trash, and keep only what I actually use: tissues, charger, a snack bar. That's it. It's such a small space, but we're in it so often. And when that space feels calm and clear, you'd be surprised how much lighter your whole day feels. Especially if you're always on the go. Driving kids around, juggling errands, having one less mess zone really matters. And the best part, it's a quick win. You don't have to be home. You don't need a whole afternoon, just you, a bag, and 5 quiet minutes. Now that we've tackled one of the smallest spaces in your routine, let's move to a spot that's small too, but touches almost everything you do in the kitchen. Now let's head back into the kitchen and zoom in on something that's probably sitting just a few inches from your stove: the spice shelf. It's wild how such small containers can create so much chaos. Tiny jars stacked behind each other duplicate bottles of cinnamon you didn't know you had, and spices you bought for that one recipe 2 years ago. Sound familiar? The shift here is simple. Pull them all out. Every single jar. Wipe the shelf. Check the expiration dates. You'll be shocked at how many are long gone. Then only put back what you actually use, ideally in a way where you can see each one. I had 3 kinds of paprika once. One sweet, one smoked one. Something I couldn't read because the label had rubbed off. It was frustrating every time I cooked. Now I have maybe 8 spices total, and I can grab any one of them in 2 seconds flat. Decluttering your spice shelf won't just make it look neater, it actually makes cooking feel easier. Fewer decisions, less digging, more clarity. And most importantly, it helps your kitchen feel calm again, not like a drawer of tasks waiting for you. Speaking of calm, let's move to another spot that's supposed to be all about self-care, but often ends up filled with guilt instead. Okay, let's talk about something a little more personal, the drawer basket or shelf where you keep your skincare and makeup. It probably started with good intentions. A new serum that promised glow. A cleanser that everyone said was life-changing. A lipstick shade you swore you'd try. But somewhere along the way, that hopeful little corner turned into a pile of half-used, expired, or just plain wrong-for-you products. And the truth is, we don't keep them because we love them. We keep them because we feel guilty. Guilty for spending the money. Guilty for not using them. Guilty for not becoming the person who would have used them. So let's change that. Today I want you to grab every single skincare or makeup item you haven't touched in the last 3 months. Check dates, smell them, open them. If it's separated, dried up, smells weird, or just doesn't feel good on your skin, let it go. No guilt. I recently found a face mask I had convinced myself I'd use on a self-care Sunday. It expired a year ago, and truthfully, I was never going to use it. I just like the idea of it. Your bathroom should feel like a place you take care of yourself, not a place where old purchases sit there reminding you of who you didn't become. And since we're already in that zone of self-care turning into silent stress, let's move to one more thing that's cozy in theory, but kind of draining in practice. And now we're getting into those candles, the ones sitting on your shelf, your nightstand, maybe even the edge of your bathtub. The ones that look pretty but don't really do anything anymore. Maybe it's burned down to the last inch of wax, or the scent is long gone, or it tunnels when it burns and you keep thinking, I'll fix it next time. But there hasn't been a next time in months. I used to keep these too. One was a gift in a beautiful jar, but the wick was too short to light. Another looked aesthetic on my dresser, but had no scent left at all. Every time I walked by, I thought I should throw that out. But I didn't, because it looked like it belonged there. Here's the shift: let go of what only looks relaxing. If it no longer brings warmth, scent, or calm, it's not serving you. You don't need to feel bad for discarding it. You've already enjoyed it. Its purpose is fulfilled. And clearing even just one of those forgotten candles makes space for something better, or for nothing at all, which can be even more peaceful. Now that we've decluttered a few emotional items in your home, let's move on to something a bit more practical but surprisingly heavy on mental load. All right, let's continue into the kitchen again, this time not the spice shelf, but the drawer or cabinet where your cool gadgets go to die. We've all been there. You see it online. It folds eggs into perfect rolls, or chops veggies in 5 seconds flat. The ad makes it look effortless, and you imagine your life getting easier, more organized, maybe even a little aesthetic. So you buy it. You use it once, maybe twice, and then it doesn't clean easily. It doesn't fit in your drawer. Or it only works for that one thing you rarely make. So it sits there, taking up space. Quietly whispering, "You wasted money on me." That whisper, it's what makes this clutter heavier than it looks. You're not just holding on to a plastic contraption, you're holding on to a little regret. But here's the truth, you're not that person from the ad. And that's okay. You're the person living a real life in a real kitchen who doesn't need a drawer full of maybe one day. So let it go. Whether it's a spiralizer, a juicer, or that mini waffle maker you haven't touched in a year. You tried it. You learned something. You get to move on. And after all, clearing space in your kitchen isn't about being a minimalist. It's about being honest. Honest about what works for you. Let's stay in that mindset for a moment because the next thing we're about to declutter is something that looks helpful, but usually ends up creating more mess than clarity. Let's move to a drawer that almost every home has, the one filled with random cords and chargers. It starts innocently. A new phone, a speaker, a toy that needs charging. You save the cable thinking I might need this later. Then another one, and another. Some of them are still wrapped in twist ties. Some are already tangled. And pretty soon, you've got a drawer full of wires, but no clue what half of them belong to. I opened our tech drawer recently and found 3 identical USB cords, a charger for a tablet we gave away last year, and a mystery cable that looked important, but I had no idea what it was for. And that was the problem. If you don't even know what it's for, you're not going to miss it. Here's what I did. I took out every single cable, laid them on the floor, and sorted by type. Phone chargers, earbuds, camera cables. I kept 2 of each max. The rest donated or recycled at a local electronics drop-off. I also labeled a few with masking tape just so future me wouldn't be confused all over again. That drawer used to stress me out every time I opened it, like a little knot of clutter waiting to trip me up. Now it's calm. Simple. I know what's in there and why. And that's really the point of this whole video, not to have less just for the sake of it, but to feel more in control of what you actually own. Let's take that same mindset to a space that's often ignored but can quietly turn chaotic if left unchecked. Let's head into a space that's often hidden behind a door, but can become a source of stress when we actually need it: the linen closet. Especially the shelf where you keep towels, extra products, and all those just-in-case medicines. This is one of those spots that feels harmless, until it's not. You're reaching for a clean towel and 6 other ones fall out. Or you're searching for fever medicine at 2 a.m., and all you can find is an expired bottle from 2 winters ago. It builds up slowly: mismatched washcloths, too many beach towels, duplicates of things you forgot you had, or those random half-used tubes of ointment, mystery blister packs, and expired cough syrup. The fix: pull everything out. All of it. Give the shelf a quick wipe. Toss any medicine that's expired or unlabeled, yes, even if it looks fine. Then take a hard look at your towels. Keep the ones that feel good to use. Donate or downgrade the rest to cleaning rags. I did this recently and realized we had 7 body towels for a family of 4, and still we kept grabbing the same 2. Now I keep what we love, fold it neatly, and store medicines in a clear bin with labels. It's no longer a chaos zone. When that closet is organized, it makes everyday things easier and emergencies way less stressful. No more guessing, no more digging. And since we're already in the rhythm of clearing the daily use stuff, let's take a look at something small but surprisingly frustrating and almost always hiding in our drawers. Let's shift from the closets and cabinets to something much more personal: the drawer you open every single morning, your sock and underwear drawer. It's funny how this little corner of our wardrobe gets ignored the most. We'll hold on to socks with holes, underwear that's stretched out, or pairs that always slip down or dig in, all because they still technically work. But let's be honest, they don't feel good. And if the first thing you put on in the morning makes you irritated, that feeling follows you. This happened to me just a few weeks ago. I pulled out a pair of socks and realized I had to stretch them over my heel for the 3rd time that week. I wore them anyway. Midday, I was annoyed not because of anything big, but because my socks kept sliding off inside my shoes. That tiny frustration set the tone for the whole day. So here's the shift: go through that drawer. Be brutally honest. Toss the ones with holes, the ones that always slide down, the ones you avoid. But keep just in case. Keep only the ones that feel right. Soft, reliable, no second thoughts. You don't need dozens of mediocre options. You need a small handful that actually make you feel good. And this isn't about perfection, it's about self-respect. Taking care of yourself in the smallest ways, like not settling for scratchy socks, is one of the quietest forms of self-care. And speaking of quiet things that build up over time, The last item on today's list might be sitting on your kitchen counter right now. And finally, the last thing on our list today, it's small, usually sits in plain sight, and somehow carries the weight of 100 undone tasks, the pile of mail you haven't touched, bills you've already paid, flyers you didn't ask for, catalogs you never flipped through, envelopes with your name on them stacked neatly, waiting. And every time you walk past, there's this tiny tug in your chest, a whisper. You still haven't dealt with that. It's not about the paper. It's about what it represents, the feeling of being behind, of always having one more thing to handle. That pile becomes visual clutter and emotional clutter, and the longer it sits, the heavier it feels. You don't have to sort it all at once. Just grab a recycling bag, sit down for 5 minutes, and go through the top layer. Toss anything irrelevant, share anything sensitive, open the rest. Most of it, I promise, won't even need action. It just needed to be gone. I used to leave mine on the corner of the kitchen counter, the "I'll do it later" spot. Except later never came. Once I started handling it weekly in small chunks, it stopped owning space in my head. Clearing that pile might not change your home overnight, but it will shift the energy of your day. You get to walk past that counter and feel nothing. No guilt, no reminder, just a smooth, clear surface. And honestly, after all the little things we cleared out today, that one moment of calm might be the biggest win of all. That's it, 10 small things that might be quietly cluttering your home and your mind. You don't have to clear them all at once, but even letting go of just one can shift the way your space feels and how you feel inside it. And sometimes that shift starts not with something big, but with something tiny. Tomorrow I'm sharing a few quick declutters you can do in under 10 minutes. The kind of changes that feel small, but hit surprisingly deep. If you've ever thought, "I don't have time to declutter," this one's especially for you. If you're in the mood to keep going, I've made a short video with 5 more tiny declutters you can actually do today. Simple, satisfying, and quick. It's a great next step right after this. And if this video helped you exhale a little, feel free to like or share it. It's how I know what really supports you. You deserve a home that feels lighter, one quiet, honest change at a time.